firstly, many congratulations. And let me tell you, you know, आजकल हमारे जो critics होते हैं ना, वो review और praise ऐसे देते हैं जैसे प्रसाद मिल रहा है. So, but I realized, and this is something I've observed, whatever may be the fate of a film, good or bad, one thing remains constant is the praise that comes your way is natural, you know. I have never read that Rakul has hammed her way or she's sleepwalked through. So today I was reading the reviews were like, so natural. The stethoscope looks like at ease with her on her shoulders. She's the only performance who actually makes it feel she is in that hospital. So कैसा लगता है ये सब सुन?
बहुत अच्छा लगता है, and I think, you know, it's so gratifying right now. When you said that, I got goosebumps, because that's the most gratifying thing for any actor, because honestly, Pooja, that's the only thing which is in our hand. You know, only my role and how I deliver that and what best I can do for that role is what's in my hand. Eventually, the fate is never in an actor's hand. There are too many factors which lead to a film's success or not, and, you know, and too many people make the film. But when my work is appreciated, at least I'm being honest to it, and that's very, very, that makes me feel very happy.
No, and it's a fact, actually. It's a fact. From the time I've known you, and, you know, apart from what I may feel, people may say, oh, you know her, maybe you're not, you know, seeing it from, you're being a little biased, which I am not. But this is what I have read. And today I was just so very happy. Just go and read those reviews. Just read them. I know reviews do not matter. Everyone has their perception. But one thing stands out is that praise that coming to you, because as Fatima, honestly, you were very natural. You were just like, you could have been Fatima. That's why I said the Dr. Avatar really suits you. You
just replied to you on that. I just replied to you on that. Thank you. You know, I think Dr. Fatima, have you seen the film?
Yes, I have.
So Dr. Fatima, if you see, my language is very different from the way I speak normally in the film. So thoda wo gada ke Dr. Fatima talks, you know, and because her nuktas, she correctly puts in, that's how Lucknowi Hindi is. So we had diction classes, we had a certain way that Dr. Fatima will sort of deliver her lines or talk. So that body language and diction, and those are one aspect. And then of course, the building of Dr. Fatima also involved gynac sessions where we had training with a gynac, and there was also a gynac present on set, just to make sure that we are comfortable with the tools. You know, ऐसा नहीं लग रहा है कि हम कैची को normal कैची की तरह उठा रहे हैं, because you know those tools are held differently, or how is a vacuum pump held and things like that. So I think the whole making of Dr. Fatima as a process was very, very exciting for me. It was very thrilling. And now that when people are saying that a Punjabi girl is looking like Dr. Fatima, it's very gratifying, because honestly, it's a small town role. People are, you know, because in our industry, generally what happens is that you get typecast, and I don't want to get typecast, you know, which is why if a De De Pyar De was very different, it's a city urban role, and then there's a runway, which is very different, and then there's Dr. G, which is a small town Dr. Fatima, who's very different. So that's the endeavor, that it should look different, and if people appreciate, nothing more than that for me.
And the appreciation is coming, and that's why I was impressed. The way that you were wearing the stethoscope was like, you know, could just be a med student who's laga ke. It comes naturally to them, you know. And in her scrubs ki main chali gayi kaam ke liye. So but hats off, and it's amazing that you get to play so many things, you know, from a pilot to a doctor. But Rakul, honestly, how has your process now changed? Because you have seen success in both the industries. You are actually the proverbial pan-Indian artist. It's a very cool hashtag. You have to be
very cool.
वो जो आप हैं. But has it now changed also, because there's such author-backed roles for women actors now, you know,
yeah.
and directors are wanting to invest in those projects. Has your process changed over the years?
I think a little. I think your process in general keeps evolving. The more films you do, the more understanding of your own craft and of the film industry you get, you know, and the changing times, the kind of cinema keeps changing. So it's an ongoing process, and it's not that it's going to stop at this. Something else will happen after 2 years. Maybe the writing will change, but it's, I think, a great phase, because even if a film is commercial, in that the actor is not just for 2 scenes or 2 songs, and you know there's more to the female writing, and even otherwise there's some amazing work that so many women are doing. Even Shefali Shah, for that example, look at the kind of work that she's doing, and garnering praises from everywhere. And you know, or for that matter, Vidya Balan, and the kind of scripts that are being written. So it's a very exciting phase for any actor. And I want to do a little bit of both, Pooja. Like I said, that I want to do projects which I shoulder myself, like a Chhatri Wali, which will be releasing soon. And then there's another thriller that I've done, which I'm headlining, and that also the shoot is over. But then I also want to do the masala, like the Thank Gods, and then I want to do, so you know, you want to do a little bit of both, and I think that's the beauty of it.
What was the biggest challenge for you? I know you have struggled your way through. Biggest challenge for you to convince all those people who decide on the business here that, hey, I have it all in me. What was the most challenging aspect for you as an actor?
I think it's, you know, it's an ongoing process again. You have to keep convincing every director time and again, because like I said, that you get slotted. So I'll tell you an anecdote from Dr. G. When Dr. G was being cast, I was first called, and you know, the narration was given, and Anubhuti had called me, and I really liked the script. I thought it was very progressive as a script, even as a role, and the way Ayushmann and my characters have been defined, that it's not the quintessential way of showing 2 lead characters, right? So I was very excited. And then possibly there was whatever conversation that, but you know, which came for a moment, that Rakul, is she too glamorous to look like a small town doctor? Because they're not seen me in Hindi do anything like that. And that reached me, and I told Anubhuti that, I said, you know, why don't you screen test me? Like, let's do a Fatima look, see, you know, I'll and then you take a call. You know, because because she then people around you are telling you something, then you get confused, right? So I forced her to screen test me, and I remember I still remember I was shooting for Runway. I flew down to Bombay. I recovered from COVID. I flew down to Bombay. The same day that I recovered, I was negative. The next day I was on a flight, because I was so eager to like finish this before anything else happens. And she just, I was in a kurta, you know, in a small town braid and kurta, and we did one scene, and I signed the film then only, like it got confirmed then only, because there's a certain perception that gets created, right? Because if you're doing glamorous songs, then you can't do this, or if you're doing this, then but that's the job of an actor. I feel that's our job, to be able to look like different people. If I'm doing what I am, then how am I acting? The whole point is to be someone else. And so that was one point where I convinced, and there are many like that. So when 2-3 aise ho jate hain, then people forget ki aap glamorous, actually real life mein aap waise ho. So you have to constantly keep like telling people.
How tough is it really, Rakul, to navigate this between your personal and professional? Yeah.
No, I love my work. I think anything you feel tough when you don't enjoy what you're doing. When you're really passionate about what you're doing, then it's never tough. It's just a trek, sometimes upward, sometimes downward, but you love outdoors, so you love trekking.
Awesome, well put. And also it's interesting that 2 mainstream actors, as I would say, are actually lending their face to a subject that, I don't know why we speak very hush-hush about women's sexual health, about baby periods, about pregnancy. It's just like behind closed doors. So I'm glad that you are doing all this, because maybe people take the lead and there'll be more such narratives also being made, you know.
Right. You know, I just feel that films are such a great medium. Of course, the main agenda of a film is to entertain audiences. But if through that entertainment, in a very light-hearted way, you can give out a subtle messaging. Now, say, for example, Dr. G, there are a lot of subtle messages, you know, it's not in your face, but there are too many things, there are a lot of things that we're trying to address there, right? Whether it is a male touch, whether it is comfortable with any gynac, irrespective of the gender that the gynac is from, whether it is coming of age of a man and breaking the patriarchy of being a certain way, you know, of thinking that the man is right. And a woman is not, and you know, I think it's so important for us to have those conversations in a subtle way, Otherwise, the society wouldn't change. And why? And I just feel that why is there no conversation on sexual health? But yes, you will talk about mental health, you talk about physical health, you talk about your cardiovascular health, but nobody talks about sexual health, which actually should be taught in schools.
You also, these days, have you seen how obituaries are being written about films even before they are released? You know, just like ye nahi chalegi, kaun dekhta hai, and also the fact that you've done both cinema, North and South. They just feel Southern content is way better. Northern is, it's just this mood that everyone is going through. What do you actually want to say about, what do you feel as to, because every film comes with its own destiny.
Yeah, I just feel it's a phase. It's not a debate about South and North. It's not who's creating this competition. This has been happening for many years. The remakes have been made from here to there and vice versa. And the South cinema has been doing great for many, many years. And which is why you have the stars of the likes of Chiranjeevi sir or Nagarjuna sir or Rajnikant or Kamal Hassan sir. So it's because they've sustained so many years and that those films have been doing so well is why they're even today some of the called the biggest superstars in the country. Now, having said that, I just feel it's a phase that every industry goes through. Maybe every industry has a different timing. Sometimes Telugu films are not working, sometimes Tamil are not working, sometimes Hindi are not working. Irrespective of all that debate, I feel if it's a good film, it will land. If it's not a good film, it will not land. Like Brahmastra did receive a lot of love. It's not that Hindi is going through, it received a lot of love. Now, my bigger question, which I'd want actually to talk about is that I may be wrong, right? But I just feel that we should, as actors or as media, we should ask the right questions, because I feel that it's not the taste of the film of the audiences that has changed, because the same films on a national cinema day where the tickets were cheaper had highest footfalls, had very, very high footfalls. So is it because post the pandemic, if you come to think of it, you and I were possibly very lucky that we had roofs. We didn't have to think about food or a shelter or next 6 months of survival. But half of the population, more than half, had to struggle their way through. Absolutely. And now when the things are stabilizing, people didn't have money. They didn't have anything for their own security. So now when things are stabilizing, are they going to spend everything on a film every week? It's also that. And I think because so many films are releasing, this is not the pace at which films used to release. It's also 2 years of backlog of films. Now the producers also have to release because they have been, holding the films for too long. The audiences also cannot watch or make a 100 crore film every week. And see the spacing of the films that have worked in the South also. They were widespread. It's not that every week the films in Telugu and Tamil are also working. It's the same phenomena everywhere. So it's, I think, a global phenomena where the economy of the world is sort of coming back together. So, I think when we ask these questions, we are validating a conversation which is not there. It's a phase of sort of getting back, like holding your crutches back and standing up. Absolutely. Now, and I think that's what we need to talk about, that it's affordability, because the same people saw the same films on OTT. So if the taste has changed, OTT will also, those films will not work on OTT as well, right?
Absolutely, totally get your point. Another thing that I heard that you had said, which was really nice, is we are public figures, but we are not public properties. And there are many times a lot of nonsense is written. People are speculating. You've been pretty open, but how tough is it, Rakul, to actually maintain your private life and your relationship in public and under the spotlight? This is just,
I'm glad you asked me that question in the best possible way rather than speculating.
कब हो रही है?
हाँ. मतलब मेरे माँ बाप को टेंशन नहीं है, but लोगों को ज़्यादा टेंशन है. So I always feel that I've always been a very vocal person. If there is a part of my life which is just so normal. I mean, it's the most normal thing to have a partner for anybody. It's the most possibly done thing that humans do, is to have a partner in life, and specifically as Indians. So I feel that it's normal, and I am vocal about anything that I need to speak about. And my request is, don't speculate, because if there's any other truth to anything else, I will speak about it. But when you speculate, it does bother for a second, and then I'm like, my parents know the truth. People who know the truth. But what happens is, if this too much speculation sometimes annoys you because you are actually amidst work and you have work lined up, so you start getting calls कि film का schedule तो नहीं ऊपर नीचे हो रहा, and I'm like नहीं भाई ऐसा कुछ नहीं हो रहा है because मुझे ही नहीं पता है. And the funny part is, even when I've, you know, whatever news came and I've sort of being sarcastic about it and I've slammed it with sarcasm, people have not understood the sarcasm. So and still carried a lot of stuff. So, you know, it sometimes gets like, yeah, you know what, I should not get affected because you just can't help it. Because, but my request is that should not. Now, when a person is vocal, I am the kind of person who's vocal, so I'll talk about it when I have to.
Yeah, I know you'd both put up a post about that, but just tell me honestly, is it easy to have someone who's from the same industry than someone from outside? Because that person wouldn't understand.
Absolutely. No, I think it's very easy because I just feel an actor's life is mad. Like I've slept 6 hours in the last 72 hours. And I'm not kidding, to understand your pace of life, to understand your schedules, to understand the kind of mood swings you may go through because you're shooting night shoots and things like that. You know, it's just easier when your partner is from a similar workspace and understands and sort of gives you that space.
Absolutely. And before we wrap up, just a quick quiz, like which of your co-stars' dressing sense matches your vibe?
Dressing sense. Oh,
style matches your vibe.
I think Ayushmann, because he just dresses very casual and cool, and I also really like to be casual. I'm not like very dressy and blingy and, you know, all of that. So yeah.
Who is the prankster amongst all your co-stars that you've worked with across?
I've always heard Ajay sir is a prankster, but he's never played a prank on me. So I don't know.
Which co-star? I know you want to do a full-fledged love story. Kiss co-star के साथ आपको लगता है full-fledged love story अच्छी होगी, or another actor you feel that you would be best with?
I'd love to do a love story with Kartik Aaryan, Ranbir Singh, Ranbir Kapoor.
If you were to direct a movie, what genre would it be?
I don't think I can direct. I think I'm more an actor. I love being in front of the camera. I don't see a film from a director's lens.
अगर आपको कोई बोले आप यही एक फिल्म पूरी जिंदगी में देख सकते हो, वो कौन सी होगी?
DDLJ.
An actor whose account you regularly stalk?
Nobody. I'm not a social media person. I just post my things and I leave.
Okay. A thing that you Googled about yourself last time?
Just now, Dr. G reviews.
Which are fabulous. An actor you feel other than you who's here to stay?
There's so many. I think I love Alia Bhatt.
Okay. If not films, what would you have done? I suggest doctor बन सकते हो.
नहीं, मेरे को डॉक्टर और इंजीनियर नहीं बनना था. ये मुझे बहुत बचपन से पता था कि मुझे डॉक्टर और इंजीनियर नहीं बनना है, because बहुत सारे लोग हैं. I always wanted to do something different. So I was planning of doing brand management. You know, do my MBA in brand management. In India at that point did not have brand management courses. Now I am 2 of IIMs have it. So that I can work behind these big brands, Chanel and Prada and things like that. So in my high school, I thought I would do that, if not actor.
Invisibility or immortality?
Invisibility.
You are invisible, क्या करोगे? किस पर पहले spy करोगे?
नहीं, invisible होके कहीं भी पहुंच सकते हो ना, कुछ भी कर सकते हो. तो वो तब सोचेंगे जब invisible हो जाएंगे.
Anyways, thank you very much. Keep doing what you are doing and keep being the way that you are.
Thank you.